Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome back. It's week 10 of SLS2264, and we are getting into the research project, which will result in both a formal paper and a presentation, the same basic content. So let's go ahead. We've taken a little bit of look at it, but let's go ahead and really delve into where we are, because we're really getting into it this week for the first official time. So as usual, just to orient ourselves in the semester, we are in week 10, which means that we are officially beginning the research portion of the class. Now, in addition to the research paper, you are going to have during this module 5, you are going to have one additional module or unit from the Phi Theta Kappa materials, which is on guiding through conflict. But this week, you're really focusing on getting started on that assignment more so than Unit 8. As you've gotten accustomed to, the leadership units take a couple of weeks. So this week we're taking a tiny break and learning about research and that sort of stuff. But then in weeks 11 and 12, you'll have that same sort of setup where you do a discussion board while you start reading the stuff and watching the videos, and then you do the journal after that. Now, in addition to that, of course, you are going to have the rough draft of the research paper due in week 12. So that's what's happening during this module. We're going to talk about research and how to do it, how to put everything together. Then we're going to start Unit 8. We're going to complete Unit 8 and complete the draft of the big paper. Okay, so that's what's going on. Let me get out of this, go to the student view so that you guys can see where to find everything. All right, so as I mentioned, officially we're starting module number 5. So the learning materials, of course, have everything you need for the next 3 weeks. So you do not have to read everything within the first couple of days, but you do want to get started with the learning materials for information literacy and the research paper assignment. That's your big goal this week. And then Unit 8, guiding through conflict, really starts next week. So, but it's all on the page, as usual. So in Unit 8, of course, we have the overview. This will give you some details about what you're going to see in the Unit 8 materials, the guiding through conflict stuff. But then in the learning materials, this is where you're going to delve into what you need for this week. So for this week, you want to make sure that you watch the information literacy lecture. You also want to make sure that you watch the essay basics and writing process video and all of the videos. There are 3 of them that are tied to MLA. So the first, once you get to learning materials, everything down to the free version of Unit 8 is really for this week. And then after that, of course, is for next week and the week after. I went over the assignment and sample for the leadership profile research paper, but I want to do that again because this is the week when we're officially starting it. So you may remember from last week when we talked about it, you do have to choose one of the leaders that are on the list. You will conduct credible research on the person. You will learn about not only, of course, their biography, but their leadership philosophy, their vision, how they manage conflict, like what all the things that we've been talking about will play into this. So you are going to use MLA format and documentation because we are a humanities-based class. If you've not had ENC 1101 before, because it's not a prerequisite, it's not that I don't hold you accountable for learning it, because you should learn it. But it's not as dire. If you make a couple of mistakes here and there, let's put it that way. Make a couple of mistakes here and there, it's fine. But you need to do your best. And we've been practicing it. I've had you practice how to do the citations and stuff. We've been learning that kind of throughout, but this week we will get into it in depth. Photos and other visuals are not required, but if you do use them, they must be cited. And most people do like to include at least a picture. You don't have to do it in the research paper. You're going to do a PowerPoint as well. So if you find photos, I would keep them, but you don't have to put them in the paper. The works cited page is required. It doesn't contribute to the length. Quoting, you must quote things, you must paraphrase things from your research, and all of that, any information that comes from sources must be cited with an entry on the works cited page and internally with the use of parenthetical citations. And there's videos on each of those steps and how to do them in this week's unit materials. You must use at least 3 academically sound sources, which means they come from the library and are not Wikipedia. The actual text of the paper should be at least 4 pages. So that's about 1,000 words. For the leadership focus, you want to focus on their bio. Of course, you want to give us a biography, but you want more of the paper to be dealing with their leadership. How are they as a leader? What is their philosophy? What were their or are their visions and goals for any organization that they might be associated with? Some are business leaders, some are not. So kind of might vary a little bit there. If you can find information on how they manage conflict, that's awesome. Sometimes you can find that information, especially for leaders in the business world, but sometimes non-business leaders, we may not have that as much. How do they build trust? How do they establish trust with their workers or with their people, their followers, whatever the case may be? And anything you can find about them empowering others or building up others within their leadership. Here is the list. We went over it last time. I didn't go through every single one of them. You can pick them from this list. They have to be from this list. No other people will be accepted. The topic choice and outline and initial bibliography, we've covered a little bit, but this has the information here. And essentially, this is kind of a sample of what it'll look like. So you're going to be choosing a person and writing up this information, including an initial bibliography. You'll notice that with this initial bibliography, it does not have the hanging indent. That's because when we are writing within Canvas, it doesn't always work. So, but you do want to have italics and you do want to include the information that should be there. The other link that's here is to the Citation Center. And this will give you, the library information will give you a sample of an MLA paper, but it will also give you the tools that you need to create works cited entries. If you're getting your information from the library, you don't have to worry about it as much because those citations are created for you. But if you're citing things from the web, you are responsible for doing that correctly. I will show you this week a little bit more about how to do that library research. So we'll talk about that before we leave today. So that is the link that's in the module that will show you in depth the thing that you're working on. And then what do you have to turn in? Well, like I said, this week you're going to have a discussion board. The discussion board number 6 is due at the end of this week, and so is the leadership profile topic choice. So if we look at the discussion board that's due this week, it's going to help you chart behaviors you wish to change. And there's an attachment that you can use to help with that. So as usual, explore that in depth. That is due this week. And then the profile research paper, topic choice is done in quiz format. I think I even opened this for you and showed you last time. It's only 3 questions. It's essentially, in fact, I'll open it again in case we didn't last time. Where'd it go? There we go. Write a paragraph naming your chosen leader from the list and why. Write a rough outline of your project. It can be just a list. It doesn't have to have like Roman numerals and all that stuff, but like, what are you going to cover? And then an initial bibliography of 5 potential sources in MLA format. Again, these should come from the library. Once you're done with that, you hit submit quiz and you are ready to go. So let's talk a little bit and show a little bit how to find those sources in the library. I'm gonna stop my video for a second because I want you to be able to see the screen entirely. And we're gonna open another tab and go to the library. So we're gonna, oops, come here, computer. lssc.edu/library, and it opens up a weird longer thing, but that's the easiest way I know to get to it. I'm going to click on libraries. Now the citation center is right here. This is the link that I was telling you about. This is where you will find an MLA citation guide, which teaches you how to helps you create those works cited entries. And then the one that you might be most interested for upcoming is the MLA sample paper. Those are helpful. This document formatting instructions is helpful. And the last one is how to handle images, which we will eventually do. So there's some cool resources there. But what we mainly want to look at today is how to search the library. Now, to be honest, you can separate out your search by books and then articles and that sort of thing. I like that there's just one little box here. Okay. So Ruth Bader Ginsburg is one of the people that's on the list, and she's in my drop down because I've used her before. So I'm just going to use her as a sample. So all I did was put in Ruth Bader Ginsburg and hit search. Easy peasy. With that, I have 190 results, and some of them are going to be articles. Some of them are going to be books. There's going to be a lot of different things. There's even some websites in here. What I want you to do when you search is you want to focus mostly on articles just because they're a little bit easier to deal with. But you do have some good website materials here as well. So we can explore any of these things. There's a book. So I want to show you how to make sure that you can reach this information, read this information, and use it in your paper or especially here in your initial bibliography. So one of the things you may want to do over here on the left, we always have ways to tweak our results. In fact, it even calls it that. I'm going to say I want it to be available online because I want to make sure that I don't have to go anywhere to get my information. All right, so I have narrowed it down then to 53 results, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's still plenty. Remember, you only need 5 for your initial bibliography. You may end up using the same ones. You may end up using different ones, but this is just to show that you have done some looking. Okay. So these are all available online. We know that because we clicked that. And some of them are books, some of them are articles. Obviously, you probably don't have time to read a giant book, but you certainly have time to read articles. But you also don't want to be afraid of using books. One of the coolest things about the books is that ebooks are searchable. So if you had a book where it had a lot of different information about different people, you could focus on Ruth Bader Ginsburg or whoever your person is. So there's some benefit there. But I want to show you the way to find the citations and to read the stuff. So let's just start with the first one, randomization of political figures. Sorry, I'm drinking water, but my fall allergies have kicked in full force. All right, so when it says it's available online, there's going to be a section here in the middle that says view online. So we want to click on that link and it will take us to the article. You may have noticed, in fact, when I get this open, I'll go back to it, but you may have noticed that in the middle of that page, there is a button that says citation. Just pretend like this doesn't exist. Now, the other things here are kind of helpful. If you wanted to print it or you wanted to email it to yourself, sometimes I like to email myself things so that I can locate them more quickly down the road. Permalink is exactly what it sounds like if you wanted to have a Word document where you kept just the links so that you could go back to them. That's fine as well. But really, you want to go straight to the article. So you want to go to that part that says find online. This is the entire article. And you can read it all right here on this page. It's not super, super long. So this is a great thing you could use, utilize this, not a big deal. You might notice though, that there's no page numbers or anything like that because this is an HTML document. So it's just the words. Sometimes you will have over here on the left, you will have not only the HTML full text, but you'll also have the PDF. If you have the option of looking at a PDF, I always like to do it because it's going to have the pictures and anything else that was in the original article, including page numbers. Mostly when I show you on this page over here, though, is on this right-hand column, this citation button is the one that you actually want. Okay, so we click on Cite and we go down here to MLA because that's what we're using. You'll notice it's author's last name, first name. This is the article title. This is the journal that it's in with the journal information. This is the name of the database that we are using. And then we have the last thing, which is the little DOI URL. What you want to do is you want to copy this whole entire piece, hit Control C, and then when you're ready, you're going to put it in where you want to put it. I would save everything in a Word document before I do my quiz, if I were you, so that way you have it and you can save it on your computer. I mean, you can always open your quiz, but if you have it in a Word document, it just makes it easier because you're eventually going to have to put it in a Word document. When you copy and paste into Word, you do have to be a little bit careful because the italics will go away. So you may have to put those back. I can show you some tricks for that, and I probably will down the road. There may even be a demo of that in that works cited video. I'll have to double check, but anyway, this is the one that you want. All right, so let's look at one of the other sources. Let's look at a book. Let's go to this one. It's just the first one available. Again, full text availability. We just click here. So it's the same exact thing. Oh, probably going to ask me to sign in again. Maybe. No, it didn't. It just then, oh, you haven't used it in a while. So the cool thing about ebooks, like I said, they are searchable. And we can cite the book, we can read it online, we can download the book, we can add it to a bookshelf, we can share a link to the book. There's all kinds of things we can do. You can download just a chapter. You can read the chapters separately if you want to. But for our purposes today, what I want to show you again is here's the citation. MLA is the default on this, so we're in good shape. So again, we would copy this and we would paste it into our Word document. We would make sure that we kept the italics. In fact, let me show you how to do that really quick, because this is something you're going to need. It'll take a second because I do not have Word shared. So let me get a blank document up and then share it. All right, so we're now looking at a Word document. In our MLA format, everything is going to be double spaced. So I'm going to go ahead and change to double spacing. And I happen to know that because we are doing a bibliography in Word, we want a hanging indent. So I'm going to click and drag the bottom triangle over to the 1/2 inch mark. Now, again, this is not going to be happening in when you put this into your canvas for that quiz. It's not going to stick, but you may as well have it right here. Instead of just hitting paste, I want to do what's called match formatting. So what happens when I do that, and I don't need both of those periods, but what happens when I do that is notice that that book title is still in italics, and so is the database title. So that's kind of helpful. It's just something that I don't have to do. If I had just come in here and hit Control V, In this particular case, it worked simply because I think I'd already done it, but I now have a different font and a different size. Like there's some definite differences there. And sometimes it really gets messed up when you hit just control paste. So use the match formatting. I forget what it's called in PC land. This is a Mac, but it's the same principle. There is a choice that you can do that. All right. So let's stop sharing the Word. We don't really need that. And let's go back to the library list. It said most of these are books or articles. Every once in a while you'll find a video. Let me see if there are any. It's not letting me expand that. Let's say I only want to find videos. No, there aren't any. There are a lot of video sources. Let me do another one. See if we can find some videos. There you go. Okay. So if you get something that says video, same thing, you want it to be available online. Otherwise it's kind of hard. So let me just open this one and show you. We have a ton of videos that are available. There's several databases. One of the most popular is Films on Demand, which is what this one's in. So if I want to watch this video, click on there. Same principle. The cite button for this particular database is directly below the video. And again, you can copy and paste it. The other cool thing about the videos is that you will have access to the transcript. So sometimes when we watch a video, it's a little bit frustrating because it's like, oh, I want to use a direct quote, but I have to stop it, start it, stop it, start it. So when you have the library videos, they will have the access to the transcript as well. But this is your citation. You're citing the video. You're not citing the transcript. So same thing, you would copy and paste that into your Word document. If you need help with it, the best place to ask for help for a library issue is right here on this Ask Us button on the library page. Librarians love to help people find information. So make use of that tool. All right. Otherwise, you guys have this. I have faith in you. We'll get back together again next week and delve a little bit more into week 8. But in the meantime, you're really just getting ready for this research paper. And so this week is all about learning about MLA and starting to do that library research. So good luck. If you need help, let me know. And I'll talk to you later this week. Everybody take care.